Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Premier Perspective. Today we are here to give an update on the Euros. We're currently, as we're recording this, two games in. All teams have played two games. This video will be out right when Group A finishes. So, anyone who's watching now knows what happened with Group A. But we're looking at it from how it is so far, and we're gonna start with Group A. And if you're looking at the teams, out of all the teams in the Euros, I would say Italy is up there for the best team right now in the way
I
they've
would
been
say
playing.
so too. Yeah, I would definitely say so too. And their first game against Turkey, they
Hmm.
looked great.
Yeah,
In the second game, I believe it was against Switzerland.
yeah,
And they look amazing in that game too. They look really together. They look solid both going forward and at the back. And I don't think they've let up a goal yet. So um, just overall, Italy are looking like almost favorites. I would say at this point.
yeah. I would think now 2 games through, the teams that have looked the most convincing are probably Italy and Belgium. But the performances that Italy have put up have really put themselves in a good position. I think that they're gonna. I remember you talked about it in our prediction video about how you thought that Italy were gonna have a really good tournament, and 6 goals, none against in 2 games. It's a good
Yeah,
record to start off.
for sure.
Looking at the rest of Group A, Wales are in second place right now with 4 points, which is great for them because you would look at the teams from the beginning, and I don't know about you, but I thought they were gonna finish last.
Yeah, I think we had them last in our
I think we
predictions
put them
actually.
last in our prediction video, and expected more from Switzerland. I thought that they should have won the game against Wales that they tied, and then Turkey, who we had as our dark horse, just has not played well at all in their 2 games.
Yeah, they're not looking so hot.
Yeah,
I'm not with Turkey anymore. I don't.
yeah,
Yeah,
The Turkey hype train that we had during our prediction video has definitely died down after
yeah,
these two
for sure.
games. But I felt like it was completely warranted though, considering how good they were prior to this. But
Yeah, it
hey,
definitely was warranted.
the
It's
Euros come and some teams play really good that aren't supposed to, and some teams that are supposed to be good don't play good at all. So you know, it's the Euros, anything can happen. But it'll be interesting to see how the last game pans out between, especially looking forward to that Italy Wales game. I think it'll be interesting to see how
yeah,
both those teams play. But moving on to Group B, um, like I said, Belgium looks great. For anyone who watched the game against Denmark, Kevin De Bruyne came in the second half and just had an absolute masterpiece. The
oh,
assist that
beautiful,
he
man.
had was so good, and the goal he scored even better. Um, yeah, that's all I could really
Yeah,
say. For it, they have their last game versus Finland that I think they'll win comfortably, and I think that they're gonna finish with 9 points.
I think so
I
too.
think now it's a question on who will finish second and third because Russia did have a good game against Finland, right? That was their win against Finland.
I believe it was. Yes,
Yeah, and Denmark, even though they haven't won a game, have looked good.
Denmark
So
have looked good, and it's
yeah,
too bad that they're.
yeah, it's
I
just an
mean,
unfortunate situation, especially with everything that happened with Ericsson.
yeah,
Um, Morale, it must be difficult to perform considering what happened, but have an opportunity in their game against Russia because a win against Russia and a Finland loss brings them up to second place and qualify for the
yeah,
next round. So
right,
there's still
definitely.
100% in it.
Oh yeah, any team, especially in the Euros, and there's like how we
Mm,
said in the previous videos, there's so little margin for error.
yeah,
And that's good for good and bad. It's good for the bottom teams, and and it makes the teams like Russia, who are currently second in the group, just off of goal differential, I believe. Um, but Denmark have played really well, and they definitely deserve to be in that third spot that goes
hmm,
through, or in I mean, I would say the second spot as well, but they just have an unfortunate set of circumstances this time around,
yeah.
and hopefully we can see them back.
Hopefully it works in their favor. Now we're looking at Group C. Netherlands, 2 wins. Um, the second win was definitely more convincing than the first. They looked shaky against Ukraine, but against Austria, they looked good, and 2 wins is what a team like Netherlands would expect in this group, though.
Yeah, definitely, and they should and they deserve both. Ukraine really fought for it. Austria,
Mhm.
it was a more clear cut win, but Netherlands. I mean, that's my country.
Mhm.
That's who I have. That's who I'm supporting to win the Euros, and I mean that's not looking like such a bad shout. I mean, Italy looked great.
Yeah,
That's when we get to Group A later. Netherlands aren't looking like such a bad shout compared to our original favorites. But as for the rest of the group, North Macedonia, they've played well in their games. Actually, you don't even
yeah,
expect them to do well at all. I think that's possibly their first tournament or major tournament appearance
yeah. It
for
might
them.
be. I'm pretty sure if it's not the first, then it might be like a second.
It's one of the first couple.
Yeah.
They're not. They're. I just don't remember
Mhm.
seeing them on the international stage ever, and they
Mhm.
have played well. It's been commendable performances, but when you have teams that have strong players like Austria and like Ukraine and like the
Yeah.
Netherlands, you just don't have a chance against that kind of competition.
Yeah, 100%. And now we're previewing these last games. Netherlands' last game against North Macedonia, which I think that they'll comfortably win, which would bring them to first. So basically, whoever wins this Ukraine Austria game would end second. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Moving on to Group D, is it coming home? I don't know with the way that they've been playing, but currently Czech Republic
Yeah, I don't
are
know about that.
top of Group D, um, which is shocking after 2 games. England, who just haven't really looked that great, honestly. The game against Croatia, yes, they won, but they never looked amazing. And then they had a pretty lackluster performance against Scotland.
Yeah, pretty
And yeah, this has
underwhelming.
been like a group of disappointment because I think Croatia hasn't looked good either. They were poor against England. And obviously, we talked about in the prediction video that Croatia isn't the same Croatia that they were in the World Cup, but you'd still expect a bit more. And Czech Republic, 4 points, and they look good.
Yeah, Czech Republic have looked great in that that one game.
Mhm.
What I believe it was against Scotland where Schick
Yeah,
scored the brace and that the 49-yard
mhm.
goal, and which is absolutely insane to have the
Beautiful.
courage and just to see it from that far away, to know that you have it and to take that hit. But as for England, um, England with the squad they have a squad with the strength on paper to win the Euros.
Yes,
But there's got to be some changes made.
something has to be done.
Sterling had a good game first time, but we got to try
Second
something
game
else.
was terrible.
It's time to try. I mean, when you have so much attacking talent, it's not like you're attacking.
Hmm.
It's not like your attack is resting on Raheem Sterling. I mean, you have Jack Grealish, you have Marcus Rashford, and you have so
Yeah.
many players going forward. You have Lewin, who I believe made the team. Um,
Who'd you say?
Calvert Lewin.
Calvert-Lewin, yeah. You have him off the
Yeah,
bench.
and you have all
You
these
have
talented players off the bench, and it doesn't have to be
mhm,
Raheem Sterling, or it doesn't even have to be. I mean, I personally
mhm.
think that Mount and Foden together have played very well.
Yeah, I thought Mount and
Um,
Foden have been the bright spots.
yeah, I would say so too.
They're
They're
great
the
players. They work well, but they need more help. And I think Kane isn't getting the ball enough. He's not getting
no,
enough touches. Um, and when he's a striker who comes deep, you need more play from the wings, and he's not getting it enough from Sterling. Obviously Sterling had Southgate trusted Sterling to start the first game. He scored. He didn't play great, but he was decent enough. So there was nothing to warrant him getting dropped for the second game. But if you look at the game against Scotland after 45, 50, 55 minutes, what does Sterling do to stay in that game and then
he
to
doesn't.
play the whole 90 minutes? And then for Foden to get subbed off in the 60th minute, I don't get that. And then we're talking about, like we said, all this power that they have on the bench. On paper, they have this good team. Jadon Sancho hasn't played a minute in the Euros.
That's
The first game
insane
he
to me.
the first game he didn't even make the bench. And then the second game he didn't play. And
That's insane
I
to
don't
me. And if
understand. I
you look
think
at,
Jadon Sancho's a great player. How is he not even getting 10 minutes in 2 games?
he needs to get some sort of game time. I mean, if you look
Uh-huh.
at, let's just go off a season. I mean, if you look at Raheem Sterling's season, and
Mhm.
not just Raheem Sterling, I mean, even Rashford didn't have an insane season.
Yeah.
I mean, after the Europa League final, I probably wouldn't want to start him in my first Euro game either.
Mhm.
But just or who they're not playing. It's not so much
Yeah.
who they are playing. I know it's more, it's a lot more difficult than than it looks. It's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah.
But you have to try something different. You have to try Grealish maybe, who I believe might be difficult to play with for some players, but because they're not used to it. But definitely going forward, you could add some
Something
Sancho.
has to be done.
If you look at his club stats, I obviously don't know his exact stats in Bundesliga this year off the top of my head, but him and Erling Haaland, I've watched enough of Dortmund play this year to know that they're incredible together. And
Mhm.
if you pair Jadon Sancho with Harry Kane or even Dominic Calvert-Lewin, they're producing an end result. At least sometimes they're
Yeah.
doing something. They're creating something that England doesn't have, and it's time for Southgate to wake up and really say, "All right, I need to change something around." Defensively, they're great. I
Mhm.
never worry about England. I've in games, Croatia and Scotland, they
Mhm.
have let up 0 goals, but they've only scored one. But I've not been worried about them defensively at all.
Yeah.
It's going forward that they need
Something.
something to change. They just something, literally anything going into
Yeah.
this last game, which will be against the Czech Republic. So that'll be a huge one for
Yeah,
them.
be a huge one because
So in Czech Republic are going to come out swinging. They have
Mhm.
Schick, who's in form. Schick has scored in both games so far. Um, and England, something needs to change.
Yeah, something definitely needs to change because this is a group that they should be winning. But so it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But looking at Group E, top of top of the group, Sweden, 4 points.
Interesting.
They've looked well. They tied against Spain, had a decent performance against Spain, considering that they had no possession at all and still managed to get a point out of it. And then they beat Slovakia. So that was great for them. So they're on 4 points. They're looking at Slovakia, who beat Poland, but lost Sweden. So they're on 3 points. And you're talking about a very disappointing Spain team that has two
Disappointing, man.
ties. They've scored only one goal in the 2 games against lesser opponents. And we talked about this in our prediction video that they don't have a striker that is prominent enough to take them through these rounds. And if something doesn't change, then you're going to see some real repercussion. They have a game against Slovakia in their last game, and they obviously need to win it. You're looking at a scenario. There is a potential scenario where Spain draws or loses to Slovakia and Poland beats Sweden. And then just like that, Spain is out of the Euros. So,
Spain's bottom of the group, and you're. They might not even be saved by. They might not even be saved by the third place.
yeah,
Not
I
drawing, but
mean,
the top four third place teams. So
yeah, so
it's not
there's,
looking up for Spain. And watching their games, watching the Sweden game, it was poor. It looked like a big possession game.
mhm.
They were playing around. They would play around
There's
Sweden.
no attacking presence.
There's absolutely zero attacking presence. If you put a player and it's not like they didn't have the chances. If you put um, someone who's more comfortable going forward in the attacking midfield or the wing,
Mhm.
and then which they did have chances. I'm not going to come out and say that they didn't, but if you put anyone else on the striker standpoint, if you have a different number 9, if you have a um, anybody else really
Mhm.
that can perform, because a lot of, strikers this tournament just overall
Mhm.
have not been
Playing
really
well.
up to par.
Yeah.
It's been the games have been won and lost in the defensive midfield.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, but if you have a clinical striker up there, that Spain Sweden game is like 4-5-0 at least.
It should
And
be.
today it should be. And today against
Against
Poland,
Poland, they should have
against
won too.
Poland, they should have won too. I believe
Missed the
that they missed a
penalty.
pen. Yes,
Yeah.
and
So
they
it's just not great performances from Spain. More needs to be done for them if they want a serious chance of doing something in the Euros, because you're looking at it. So if they beat Slovakia, then they're gonna get second place. So they just need a win. But I think it would be embarrassing if they were to finish third or
it
or
would be
even
for
or
sure
even get knocked out. That would be a
last.
complete embarrassment.
Oh yeah,
But something needs to get done for Spain. Wishing them the best. But Group F, what a group it's been so far.
yeah, that's been
Uh,
crazy, man.
it was the group of death, as they've called it, and it's been the best group so far. In the first games, France played Germany. France won 1-0 with an own goal. They had 2 goals disallowed. Portugal beat Hungary 3-0, but Hungary played a great game.
They played an
They
incredible
just
game up until
Portugal
the
just yeah. up until basically like
Yeah,
the 85th minute.
85th minute, Portugal was able to break through and score and get 3 quick goals. And
Mm,
but Hungary, I mean, throughout that whole game, they had a goal disallowed that was marginally
mm.
offsides. They
They
played
played
great
good.
defensively, and they played with heart. And they really went out there. It wasn't just a team that. I
Mm,
mean, yeah, sure, they sat back a little bit, and I'm not going to say I blame them, but they're not that team that
mm,
just sits back the whole game and got one lucky break. I mean, they played well, and I mean, it's even if you park the bus on any of these teams, on
mm.
France, Germany, or Portugal, they're going to find a way through. You have to play them, and
Yeah,
Hungary
you have
played
to
them,
play well.
and and in their first game against Portugal, they were able to hold off until about the
Mm.
84th, 85th minute until they let up 3 in quick succession because they were just pushing up. And today, the big one,
Tying against
Hungary
France.
were able to
Oh
draw
my
against
God.
France and nonetheless scored first.
Yeah.
And just right at the end of the first half, just on a counterattack, and
Mm.
they were able
It's a
to.
great goal.
It was a great
It was
goal.
poor
It was,
defending by
I mean,
France, but it was a great
oh, it was
goal.
terrible defending, but it was on by
Mm,
France's standards at least. But I mean, it was a great goal, and they
mm,
pushed forward. They got numbers forward, and they were able to just bring that energy. And then Hungary let up a bit of a unfortunate. I mean, not a bad or unfair goal, but
mm.
just one that bounces around and just bounced to Griezmann, and he's not going to miss those from there.
Yeah, he's not.
But still, 1-1. France, just a finishing problem. I
Mm.
mean, they've. I mean,
There's
against
chances there
Germany,
that just need to get they need to get scored.
right?
Um,
Yeah, sure.
they're
France
just
did beat
yeah,
Germany. I mean, they've only scored that one Griezmann goal, and I mean, if you look at, I mean, you
yeah,
have Mbappe and Benzema up top. I
exactly.
mean, you have
More
to
they
be
need to
doing
get
something
involved
with that, and they
more.
just haven't.
Has to be better
Yeah,
finishing. Like you're looking at it like France, Germany, like you think that there needs to get more done. Like for sure, 100% more needs to get done for France. And you look at the game against Germany, they played well, but they never were convincing. And
no,
then
they
they're
weren't.
tying against Hungary, and they didn't flip the switch that they needed to do, moving from game one to game two like Germany did. You're
Mm,
looking at Germany, how they played in game one against France, didn't really do that well, weren't bad though, but something more needed to get done. And then in their second game against Portugal, they went rampant and scored 4 goals.
right,
That's being reactionary to what happened. And Germany
right.
put a good performance.
Germany
And
put in an incredible performance today.
yeah,
I
and
know
then
2 were own goals, but
mhm,
they were. It wasn't
yeah,
like just
no,
ran.
but
I
they
mean,
were,
they
yeah.
pressed. It was the ones that were going to go in off
Yeah, that's
the
what I'm
defender's foot
saying.
or the attacker's foot. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Germany put in an insane performance today against Portugal. That was huge for them. Germany deserved.
Mhm.
I mean, they played well against France too. Just got unlucky, but that performance today was a huge
That's what I'm
statement.
saying. And I think that out of this group, Germany is the one who's shown the best performance. Because if you look at France, it's been disappointing. And if you look at Portugal, you could genuinely say, obviously, 3 goals right at the end of the Hungary game, but they never looked great. So you could
They
say
didn't.
that I wouldn't say it was a fluke because that's like a bit like rude to say to the 3 goals, but they didn't look good against Hungary. And then
Right,
today
and they
they
did not look
they
good
did
either.
not look good at all again against
Defensively, they
Germany.
looked they
Yeah,
looked
defensively they didn't
completely
look well,
discombobulated.
and in the middle they didn't look well. The bright spot for Portugal, which is like the common theme that like what when we also analyze Copa America and Argentina, is just the one player driving them through, and it's Ronaldo just showing up in the moments, and then besides that, like really, what else is it for Portugal?
Yeah, and if
So,
you look at the names on their sheet, I mean, they should
oh yeah,
have
come on. If you
more than
look at
that
the
at this point.
roster, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, they have such talented players. I think that's what they thought was going to get them through, and that just wasn't it for this one.
Yeah, now more needs to get done for Portugal. It'll be interesting to see um how these next like these final games pan out. We're gonna have a video out later this week with a Copa America update after the third games are played. We're gonna have a video after the final group stage matches are played with the Euros. So we'll be talking about how those last games went, also previewing the round of 16. So a couple of videos coming out soon, so make sure to check it out. Once again, I want to say thank you to anyone who's shown support. These tournaments have been great, and we love dishing out content for them. So make sure you guys are paying attention so you could always check out our new videos. So yeah, once again, thank you, and we'll see you guys soon.